I just feel that if anything is going to be taught, don't keep on teaching about slavery. Don't keep on talking about
Martin Luther King.
Yeah,
or
talk about
Tubman.
everything.
Yes, everything. Because the kids nowadays need to know who all our leaders were.
Exactly.
Who stood up for equal rights and everything.
Right.
Those kids should know that. And what kills me is people always say, well, why we always got to talk about Black history? Why we got to talk about the slavery and stuff? We need to know that because, sometimes history repeats itself. So you got to talk about stuff to prevent things. Nobody says, we're not going to talk about the Holocaust. Why should we talk about the Holocaust?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we're teaching the Greek, Greek and mythology. Okay, so what's the problem? You teach that to the full depth. Teach Black history to the full depth.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Meet the Shoe. I'm Nina.
And I am Sade. Yes, today we are talking about why. Why should we or the educators teach Black history or teach about the Black textbooks in school? And I'm preferably talking about elementary, middle school students. Why? Why should this topic be an issue nowadays? Why should we teach Black history? What do you think, Denise? What's your take?
Why should we have Black History Month?
Not the month, just be
teaching it as in regular curriculum.
Yes.
Okay. Well, one thing that they always tell you, your ancestors, your elders, your ancestors, when they speak to you in your sleep, or you see a vision of something that you created in your mind and you get it stamped and approved by something that's in your heart, you start pumping and you start going with your creativity, right? That starts as a child. Mm-hmm. What you see is what you believe, and what you digest and manifest is what you hear on a daily basis, right?
Yes.
So they have to implant the things that they want to program you to.
Right.
Be what they want you to be. They meaning the government, what it is, the white European system, right? Mm-hmm. That's what they want you to believe. But here as it being now, we're going backwards because when they tell us they keep teaching slavery, mm-hmm. right? And then they feel guilty when they say, well, George Washington had Black kids. He took Black people's teeth and embedded them in his mouth. Jefferson had lots of Black kids. Lincoln had, the things of Lincoln, Jefferson, and Washington.
Our founding fathers.
Right. The things of what they changed, mm-hmm, right? Mm-hmm. And so when they start feeling guilty, they go to talking about because of those white people, that's why the world is better now. That's not necessarily true, because anybody that's used to being mistreated doesn't take it forever, ever, right? And so my thing on teaching Black history is not Black history, it's world history.
It is.
That's what it is. It's not Black. They keep putting these labels mm-hmm. and colorism on everything. Mm-hmm. We might as well say white history is white history. It's not American history, right?
Right.
So American history is Black history. American history is of what America is, a melting pot, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's not just white people. It's not just European, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel personally that everything should be taught. It's more than just slavery to Black people. Like, if you're going to show what it is, show every single thing that we built, every single thing that we made. But you don't want to shine a light on that because it would take the light off of you. Yeah.
So, growing up in Chicago, mm-hmm. all the schools in that system taught Black history.
Okay.
And I can't remember them going in depth, but they would say, Christopher Columbus founded the United States, which he didn't, you know what I'm saying?
He did not.
It was the Native Americans already living here.
Right.
He just came over here and took over.
And from my understanding, also it was black natives already here before them.
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. So it's up and down with who actually found this Western, continent, right? But the natives have been said to be the ones that have been paid, and not all the way like they should be, because their whole system has been taken. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And they're not okay with the crumbs that they were dealt, but hey, they know that it's baby steps. So now we're asking, where is ours, right?
Right.
And so for me, I just feel that if anything is going to be taught, don't keep on teaching about slavery. Don't keep on talking about
Martin Luther King.
Yeah,
or
talk
Harry
about
Tubman.
everything.
Thing. Yes, everything. Yeah, I think it should be taught, because the kids nowadays need to know who all our leaders were.
Yeah, exactly.
Who just stood up for equal rights and everything.
Right.
Those kids should know that. And what kills me is you don't want to teach Black history, but or people always say, well, why we always got to talk about Black history? Why we got to talk about the slavery and stuff? We need to know that, because sometimes history repeats itself, so you got to talk about stuff to prevent things.
Right.
And then another thing, you just have to when it comes to Black history, nobody says we're not going to talk about the Holocaust. Why should we talk about the Holocaust?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, or why should we teaching mythology? We're teaching the Greek and mythology. Okay, so what's the problem? You teach that to the full depth. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Teach Black history to the full depth to me. I mean, all history. Right. You know what I'm saying? It all should be the same, not just, like you said, colorized. So I feel children need to know that, because when I bring stuff up to my kids, see, our kids grew up in Rochester, Minnesota, not that many Black Americans, and they'll be like, who is this and who is that? You know what I'm saying? But now that they're older, they do their own research. I just tell them, look, research it. Go to Google. Go here and there. Research all this, so they know. You know what I'm saying? What's going on. But a lot of kids don't. They're like, did slavery really happen? I'm like, what? Like other kids that I talk to, I'm like, did slavery really happen? I'm like, what do you mean? Did it really happen?
Did it really happen? I mean, they say and they make so many movies about it, and I'm tired of that too. I'm tired of Hollywood with all these damn movies about. It's like more and more that the situation with George Floyd, especially during the pandemic, and with this month being Women History Month, and the fact that George Floyd's murderer is going to be put on trial, this month. It's the fact that they keep on trying to program us. It's like you have to deprogram your mind. Even white people, you have to, especially white people that have a lot of color in their family, you have to deprogram your mind to stop looking at a lot of what's on TV and a lot of what's on the internet, because it's to program you into staying back there. Mm-hmm. It's to program into you the white way is the right way. That's really what it is when they're taking away, everyone else's history in American history, because it's okay. For instance, let's speak on not just the school system, the prison system. Right. And the fact that they've taken any kind of books that's going to upgrade you.
Oh, yeah.
Any kind of books that will upgrade your mind or enhance you for when you get out, they've stricken you in the prison system from having any kind of books. Do you know any? What's the ones that they've
just recently?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm wondering why. I'm trying to think back. Why did they ban the Color Purple book in the prison system?
So because I think some of the things they had a problem. Okay, for one, that movie. Now that is a movie that I really like, and and it was created by a white man, and I like the fact that he didn't hold it up a lot of the things that he learned, and I think that it has a lot to do with him having black children. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And he wanted his children to know, how fair he was being a white man, that he's raising black kids, and he has a black family as well, and he's one of the richest, prominent men in the world. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was a good idea for him to make that movie. Love the movie.
Yes, the play. Beautiful.
Hats off to the whole movie and the cast. Even I was blessed to even see The Color Purple on Broadway in New York.
Ooh.
Yeah, when I first got home, my homeboy had took me up to New York, and I seen it downtown Manhattan on Broadway. I sure did, and so it was really, really, really. It was when Fantasia was a part of it. Yeah, so it was a really good movie, and it was a really good to watch it being played on Broadway as well, because a play, you get to do more. You get to do more, you get to say more. You actually go by what's exactly written in the book versus it being, played on a full screen. He had to shorten it on the screen, even though it was long. You can play it out even better on the play. Right. But I think that their reasoning for why is always to say they don't want to educate you in a form that will cause a riot. That cause a riot. Yeah. So anything to do that will spark them something that they can't control, because they usually aren't able to control race wars. Right. When you're in a prison system.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to control. And then you know what? The hate you give. They banned that book last year.
Oh wow, The Hate You Give. Okay. And why do you think they banned that?
I think because of the police and the black thing going,
with George Floyd.
That, and it's just the boy getting shot in the movie You Hate You Give for no reason. You know what I'm saying? So I can see that probably being banned. We might strike up something, feelings. But what really got me was the American Sign Language book being banned and censored.
Wow!
In the prison system.
Okay, and what was the reason for that?
I was just reflecting and meditating, I'm like, why would people do sign language and need, some people are deaf in prison and need that help. They might need a translator.
Somebody in
want
to teach that.
Yeah. Exactly. But you know what? It's always going to be a rotten apple that spoiled the bunch. Yeah. So they saying they might learn sign language just to start gang activity. Okay. To go against the staff. Okay. To start a riot. Hey, things like that happen. Okay. Yeah. And then when I was in prison, I couldn't get the book 48 Laws of Power.
Me either.
So that was banned.
What happened? No. I take that back. I went in the system in 1997, right? By the time 2000, and I was released in 2006, but by the time 2003, some officers said I could have it, and some officers said that I couldn't, right? So I would have to hide it. Then by the time 2004 came, I knew I was on my 2 years of going home. I was getting furloughed and stuff like that. I sent it out. Yes. I sent it out because I didn't want that to be a slick problem for you to take away my rights or take away.
Put you in seg because of the book. And they will do that.
Put me in a shoe, or they will take good days away from me, saying that, how did you get this book? This book is illegal. It was considered contraband, right?
It will be.
So after everybody on my in my quad had read it.
Oh yeah, you
went through it, and you know what they would do? They would
take notes.
They take notes. They go to when it was the cool people or the cool officer in the law library. They run the copies on it. The officers don't care. It's usually the administration that take those type of things away from you. Yeah, it's always the administration. So when I seen that, I just was like, golly. Why y'all, you know what I'm saying?
They don't want you to empower yourself. They don't want you to educate yourself.
I can't empower and enlighten my mind for nothing. No.
So they had a couple other books I was looking at. So they say so they say you've broken the laws. And that's a challenging legal authority. That book is banned and censored, and grant writing for dummies.
Oh, wow.
Yes, that's banned and censored. So it is a lot. It's a lot of books last year that they have banned. Even a Charlie Brown book. I don't know why.
Charlie Brown.
A Charlie Brown book. Yes, girl. I'm like, what is going on? But you know, when you look at it, a lot of stuff that's been written, a lot of people trying to get rid of. Even look at what's the books that just got banned?
Dr. Seuss.
Dr. Seuss. A couple, like 3 of his books got banned.
Most of the girls that, or men, women, when I went into Walmart the other day, most of them was like black people. They were like, we didn't ever see it as nothing racist. Right?
But we never see anything as kind of, like
it's
that.
It's like you're programmed.
Right,
see
because you're programmed.
You're programmed. You're programmed. And when you're programmed to do something, that's what the system is. The system, that's why it's called a system, because you got to abide by their system, right? So obviously Charlie Brown has something that will spark a race war. It always has to do with bucking the system, because they can't control you. So anything that you're gonna do that would allow you to get out of hand, they're gonna take it away.
Yeah. So it's just I think everything should be taught and taught correctly. Now, what do you think about this? Should the textbooks be rewritten? Far as history books.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
I would think so, because a lot of that stuff was misleading information.
Yeah. Here's the thing. There is all kind of people in the world, and this is America, right? With it being a melting pot, it should be. It shouldn't be European history through the whole history books, right? It should be specific classes that you have to take. If you choose to go into this course because this is European history, this is Native history, this is Black history, right? African history, really what it is. Okay, African American history, whatever. Asian, where it talks about, Chinese, Japanese, all their different, cultures of what they have, and those descendant of people, Italians, you know what I'm saying? Each race should be touched on, and it shouldn't be more than the other.
Right.
And it's up to the child, or it's up to the teacher, I guess, or parents to choose what that child should learn more of, if that's what is being taught. We're paying our tax dollars to the teachers, right? We pay taxes yearly in order for the teachers to succeed in the system, right? Okay, so then we should have a choice on what's taught to our children, especially if you're there for a paycheck. If we pay for a tutor, we're telling the tutor what we want them to be taught, right?
Yes.
So if we're paying these tax dollars on a yearly basis, your salary, we should have a choice on the curriculum that is taught to our children. That's what the problem is. There's so many things that it has been narrowed down to a certain group of people as far as administrative legislation and, government, that we're doing every single thing how they're saying, when if we don't go, that's why voting is important, right? If we don't go and we don't pick who we want to teach our children, who we want to govern over us, who we want to police us, then there's nothing we can complain about.
Yeah, so that, with that being said, I feel that the history books, we need to, call the Board of Education or write the Board of Education, see how we can kind of broaden it, or the subjects in hand, be more specific and real with what was going on. More facts. Don't, I think they were trying to be touch us with child gloves. You know what I'm saying? Be, okay, we're going to say this a little bit, but we don't want to ruffle nobody's feathers. No, just tell the truth about Black history or anything.
Okay, and so they don't want to ruffle anybody's feathers as far as what?
what the little information they give in Black History in class for Black History.
Yeah, it's like, okay, they teach every single thing about Black history that's usually bad, though. Anything that's gonna, where, you know, like when they first come up with these barbaric ways of society, of how each person is as an individual race, right? Mm-hmm. The Europeans did this, right? They say, oh, the Black man is lazy. The white man is smart. The white woman is, they never want you to see that white women, they suffer from the same thing. They're a woman. They suffer from the same exact things that we do, right? Mm-hmm. Only thing is, they're covered up. Yeah. Because they're so as painted as this picture of they're soft and they're weak and, you know, they're so kind and gentle, when that's not true. There's plenty of white women that you see constantly on TV that snaps. Yeah. That just like Black women are loud, boisterous, and will beat you know what to sleep. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. There's plenty of white women that will beat the mess out of you. Mm-hmm. Okay? There's plenty of white women that will check you with no problem, and race don't even have anything to do with it. They don't even, there's plenty of white women that don't even think on the level of, I'm gonna call them the N-word or whatever. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But they'll check you, and then they're looked upon, it's brushed under the rug. When they go to checking and doing and snapping, they're brushed under the rug, right? But Black women, you're going to hear about it, right? It's going to be on TV. It's going to be on TV. Yep. It's going to be on the internet. And it's going to show her acting up. But a little more of it has been coming out on the internet and on the news about white women that have just not been taking the mess, right? Mm-hmm. They're being more boisterous about snapping. And it's a lot of them that are more, you know, in tune with Black people, or more in tune with, you know, their families are Black or their kids are Black. Mm-hmm. You know, it's been more of those women, right? But I'm not going to say every one of them. It's just a lot of them that just don't take it. And race doesn't play a big part in their lives. And those are the women and the people that I respect, because they take their privilege and turn it into positivity, right? They take their privilege and turn it into positivity. They're not sitting back letting you, oh, it's okay for you to jump the line. Oh, it's okay for you to say that in front of me and close your mouth and, oh, I'm going to laugh at it or push it up. No, no, it's wrong. So those are the type of teachers. Those are the type of principals. Those are the type of people that we have to continue to look for and continue to support. And if they have to be white until it can turn equal, because I don't feel that there's going to be a day when the whole White House is Black. No, it's America. Right. It should be all different people. It should be all even across the even playing field. That's all we've ever asked for. Yes. We never asked to be better than. We never asked to be jumped in front of the line. We ain't even really stressed as hard as we should have about giving us the money that's owed to us, right? Yeah. We haven't even really gotten to that point. The point of it is just give us the just due when we walk up in there in a bank and we ask. When we go in a store, we're not judged. When we're anywhere that we go that it's even. Treat me the same way. I have to say this situation where I was took Jelena was in Spanish speaking school, right? And I took her to speak at pick her up from school. And she had a teacher that she constantly had a problem with, and she couldn't explain to me that the teacher was a racist, right? Oh no. So the teacher wasn't necessarily a racist. The thing about it was she had dealt with so many women of color that would come into the classroom and disrespect her as a teacher, right? Talk bad to her. Wow. So when I came in and I was like, hi, for conference, hi, I'm here for my daughter, and, so she's discussing to me, her good points, her bad points, and she's like, well, a lot of times she will get frustrated and she won't say nothing, and then she'll have a little, like she had like switched her head around and was like she'll have a little attitude. And so I was hearing her speak, and she was like, and other kids, she kept talking about the other kids, me assuming at the time, and I know that they were black. She was talking about, they don't listen and their moms don't care. They don't, so that's where she messed up at, is that for one, you don't tell me about what someone else's child is doing, because this isn't my child's situation. So I broke it down to her like this. I told her, I said, every black person isn't the same, and whenever my daughter is having an issue here, you can contact me, because she said every time that she would contact the parents, they would cuss her out, or they would come in with an attitude or threaten her or whatever. And so it'll be a big thing.
Right.
So she kind of like was intimidated. And I told her, I said, well, I'm not that mother.
Right.
Anytime that my child does anything, please call me and tell me.
That's
for one. Don't judge her on another child's situation because they're of the same color. Because I don't look at all white people and say they're serial killers, child molesters, prejudice. I don't look at all white people and say that.
Right.
I don't look at them and say, oh, I'm going to go up in here and I see a whole big old crowd of white people and I assume that they're racist. I don't do that. I don't walk up on them and automatically tensed up and ready to be on defense. I don't do that. So I think that society as a whole has to change people and look at it as it's people. What you don't know how a person is going to be. Stop saying that, oh, they're white, they're racist. Oh, they're black. Black people's racist too.
Right.
That's just for y'all to know. There's black racists as well. And granted, I mean, I can understand their frustration. Right?
Right.
Doesn't mean that it's right, though.
Right.
Same with white people might say they might understand that another white person is racist because of some situations that happened to them, and so that's the way that they choose to be. Okay. The thing about it is why it's so big right now is because so many events of disrespect, racism and discrimination, like we're talking about the school system, and it still goes back to the police, it still goes back to the government. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
The point of it is it has to be respected on all levels, and everybody has to have an input on the school system, because these are the schools that are raising this is our future. Right? And so curriculum wise, every single parent should have
some involvement
on their child and what is right and what is wrong about what is being taught.
Yes.
Right? They need to do more surveys on it. Like, okay, for instance, since we're on school system, the thing with COVID, COVID now has made our school system to where we're dependent on looking at a screen.
Right.
The kids don't even want to go back to school. My daughter's back in school 1 day a week. And I make her go to still get in the groove of things because she's getting ready to go on to high school, right?
Right.
Okay, so the thing about that is they're so used to being at home and taking care of themselves. They don't want to go back to school.
No, they don't.
They don't want to be eager, to trust the colleges or to trust to go off away from their home.
Right.
So as a whole, we better buckle down and get more involved in what's going on in the school system, because like I said, it's the future. We're not going to just think of, when do you think that we're going to be back to normal, just real life normal, to where ain't no mask? Like, are we going to be like how they are in China, in some places in Japan and Tokyo, to where they in India and Africa sometimes too, that they wear masks all the time. Do you think that that's...
I think a couple years.
At least what?
2 years.
2? I say about 5. The reason why I say 5, only reason why I say 5, I think 2, you're on point with the 2, to where you'll be okay with maybe taking it off sometime. Right. But you'll still look in those areas as crowded places.
Oh,
and
you're like,
I want to cover up.
Yeah, you're going to want to wear.
Because even now, when we go into places, the casino or a little gathering or even Walmart, I still am glad that I could wear the mask.
Yeah.
right? That we haven't done like Mississippi or Texas. You know what I'm saying? Or Iowa, was it? Did you say Iowa?
I think it's Iowa, South Dakota, North Dakota, Texas.
And then just think of this: the prison system. They're all of the people in prison. They don't even have masks. They might have masks, but they have the cloth one, just the regular surgical ones that you throw away, the throwaway mask. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing that we have to change. The prison system and the school system works hand in hand.
Yeah.
You know, and statistically, we're going to get back in on that. So thank you for tuning in to another episode of Meet the Shoe. And if you have any questions or comments, please comment down below. Thank you.